Yes, sir. Haji.
Haji, I'm a realtor, obviously. My question is again going to be on banking, which are the mess we are in. They have tightened the criteria for lending money to people, which they got a lot of money from the government, and now they're keeping that money, not giving to anybody. Basically, what is happening is people are not getting loans, and they cannot buy the houses. The property is going back to the banks. Now they have tons of properties, and they just start going after people that already done short sale. They approve and release the note, but now they're suing people again.
Let me, Haji points out a really huge problem, which is that the real estate market still is very bad. Your house is probably worth less than it was a few years ago. Your business property is probably worth less, and that makes the whole economy weak. What do we do about it? Let me talk about the short sales for a minute, because I'm doing something very specific about that. One of the problems that our real estate leaders, like Haji, are having is that they'll find a buyer who will be willing to buy a house for $230,000, and it has a $250,000 mortgage on it. So the seller can't close the deal unless the mortgage company says, yeah, that's okay with us to sell the property for less than it's worth. So the realtor like Haj goes to the mortgage company and says, well, will you let us go ahead with the deal? Will you take $230 instead of $250? And he waits, and he waits, and he waits, and he waits.
And the buyers go away.
3 months, 6 months, and buyers go away. You understand this? The buyer can't put their whole life on hold. If they think they're going to sign a contract on October 25th and move in on December 20th, that's how they get their plan. And if you say, well, maybe it's going to be March 20th, or maybe they leave. Here's what we're trying to do. We are trying to get a rule for Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and the FHA that any loan that they would buy or guarantee, that the bank would have to make a decision within 30 days on a short sale. It doesn't have to be yes, but they have to make a decision. And if you could get that decision within 30 days, I think we start to move some of that inventory off the market.
Some of Bank of America take about 6 months.
Well, that's just ridiculous.
And they will not even talk to you if you're not 3 months behind.
Well, see, what we have done is to try to change that so we get that kind of answer and get some of that inventory moving. The other thing that I'm very worried about is banks not lending at all. I had a meeting last week with a very successful local home builder whose name you would recognize. They're solid as a rock. And they want to build a 500-unit apartment complex in Winslow Township around Route 73. And they have their approvals, and they're all set to go. They went to the bank, and they said they'd put up 44% of the money. 44% equity, which is unheard of in a real estate deal, right? I mean, I'd make that deal. The bank said they'd only make the loan if they also put up their homes and other properties as collateral, which of course they said they're not going to do that. I don't blame them. Now that's just unreasonable. And I think in a case like that, as much as I don't want government involved in these things, I think in a case like that we have to think about making the government the lender of last resort so that deal goes through. I mean, here's what that means. It means that the banks have the first crack at it, and some banks should do the deal. But if this developer, in good faith, with due diligence, can't find a lender who will make the loan, I think whether it's an agency like the RTC was during the S&L bailout, we have some agency in place to make this loan. Because let's look at that one example that I gave, right? Because they're not building that apartment complex, that's probably 120 construction workers who are not working today. Carpenters, bricklayers, pipe fitters, all kinds of people, electricians that are not working today. Second, the township of Winslow is losing a tax rateable that would be paying taxes to the community. And third, there'd be housing that people need. It's not low-income housing, but it's apartment housing, which is more reasonable than owning a home, that we need as well. So I think that that's the solution to this, and that's what we're trying to do.